Hey guys, welcome back to Restoration Mastery TV. On today's episode, we're teaching you the second core service value that we use to serve the rich, the famous, and the middle market.
Boom. My name is OP, and this is Tim Bauer. And today we're going to talk about what are the core. I love all of our core service values, but I got to tell you, this one really drives a message home for me personally. And the core service value that we're talking about today is I am empowered to create unique, memorable, and personal experiences for our clients.
And this really boils down to what our job is as a restoration company. So when someone asks you at a cocktail party or a pool hall or a bar, wherever it is you hang out, or the church.
You drink a lot? And then you go to church. I see what's happening.
I drink from these types of cups.
That's right.
When they ask you, what do you do for work? What do you do for a living? What do you say? You probably tell them, I dry down houses. I repair fire-burnt houses. Whatever it is that you do. Or do you create unique, memorable, and personal experiences? Do you see it as your role to provide an experience for your client? Right. And if so, what does that mean to you? What is a good experience? If you think about the brands that you admire and you love, I want you to think for a second about your favorite restaurant. If someone said, tell me about your favorite restaurant, chances are you wouldn't say, you know what? They have really good chicken. You would have something in mind that this restaurant does that provides you with an experience. Sometimes that may not even be about food. When we spend, $400 on a new cell phone, you're not buying it because you can make phone calls with it. You're buying because it has some cool app,
right?
Or it does some cool new thing. I can unlock it with my fingerprint now. Like, I've got to have the new one. That has nothing to do with the cell phone. It has to do with an experience. And that's what premier service brands are starting to focus on, is the experience of their client.
Yeah. And, the easiest thing to do, and what we have done, I think, pretty well, is we take an experience from when the claim gets called in, from when we market the claim or we market our work. That's an experience from when the call comes in to when the job gets going to when the job gets done to the billing. Everything is an experience for the homeowner. So what we do very well is we essentially reverse engineer the whole experience. And we take one step and we dissect it and we say, okay, what can we do different to really leave an impact with the client in this small experience where, the staff who's answering the phone is responding in a certain way to get a feel, right? And so all of these things are so crucial, and it's probably not something that you as a salesperson has control of when we talk about the culture of the company. However, you do have control of your interactions with the homeowner. I remember, back 21 years ago, I worked for ServiceMaster, and one of the reasons that I got hooked into this industry is merely because when I was out there estimating for the carpet to be replaced, the baseboards to be replaced, and painting, I was providing a schedule for the homeowner. I was getting the crews set up, and I was going out to inspect, and the homeowners would love it. At the end, some of them would invite me to their Christmas parties or their party they're having, the barbecue the week after, because they were so comfortable with the experience and it was memorable for them. So for me, this touches home because whenever you're able to make a friend out of a client or a customer, you're only there for sometimes a few weeks, sometimes a few months, but you can't help but develop this rapport with them, and sometimes they become your friends. And we have clients now. We have clients now that we see them every Thanksgiving for fundraisers, right? We see them every Christmas, and they're clients we've done business with, and they continue to rave about us. And so it's hard not to make a connection if that's what you're focused on. If your mindset is that you're going to create this memorable experience, then you do everything that you can in your power to deliver that.
And I think that by beginning each job with this end in mind, that it is ultimately my goal to provide a memorable experience for my client. I will react and respond differently to the expressed and unexpressed wishes and needs of our clients that I talked about in the previous video that we discussed. You're going to focus on, okay, I need to create an experience. I'm not just trying to rebuild a house. I'm trying to create an experience. That is my end goal. And so we use 3 adjectives to describe the experience that we want to create for our clients. Unique, memorable, and personal. Unique, memorable, and personal. So starting with unique, this should be an experience that is brand new. So here's the problem with business today. A lot of the times we get into an industry and we see someone at the top of that business and we try to become that person. I mean, could you imagine if Netflix tried to be Blockbuster? They opened their doors and they said, our dream is to be like Blockbuster.
Yeah, you have to come over out of your house, come to this building, check out a video, and then get penalized.
And as much as we laugh, and I mean, hindsight is 20/20, right? I mean, we can laugh at it today, but back then, when I told my mom I joined this service and they mail me DVDs in the mail and I have to mail them back, she was like, oh my gosh, that's not going to work. That's stupid.
Right.
You know? Like, that is ridiculous. And now even millennials are like, what do you mean you had to mail in the DVDs, right? That was Netflix 1.0, guys. But today, it's like the thought of that is, of going to a video store is so... it's probably almost so retro it's going to become cool again at some point. But the reality is Netflix said, screw it.
Yep.
I'm not going to do the same thing. I'm going to do something completely unique, completely different. I'm not going to try to beat Babe Ruth at baseball, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start playing a new sport, maybe jogging, right? And I'm going to beat the hell out of Babe Ruth at jogging because that guy can't run for half a block. So I am going to play at a different field. So by creating a unique experience for your client, that is how you can separate yourself. Now, how do you do that? I mean, I think that ultimately that boils down to what you are trying to accomplish, who you're trying to serve as a restoration company. But that should be one of your first questions.
Yeah.
How do I provide a unique service experience for my end user insured and for my referral parties? What do they really, really need?
Yeah. And this service value, we drive down to our staff. And so we let them know that they are empowered to create these unique, memorable experiences. However, what you'll find is in some businesses, the management or the ownership doesn't see that much value in it. Okay. Because they're doing the same thing the same way they've done for 20 years. And so if this is kind of outside the box thinking. But that shouldn't stop you. Going back to the first video, you are your own brand. Like everything that you do and the way that you deliver the service becomes your name, your brand with your clients, with your customers, with the people that you do business with the subcontractors that you engage with. This is your brand. So the more that you can grab hold of this for yourself and determine how it is that you're going to create this experience, you need to just get creative. Get creative and figure out what you can do in your own business of what you're doing, whether you're estimating or superintending or project managing or EMS crews, whatever that is, you need to begin to think outside the box to see what you can do different and be empowered in yourself to make that experience happen. In addition to that, let's talk a little bit about some of our staff. Heck, we just had an example this morning in our conference call. One of our EMS techs, their father-in-law just passed away. And so, my brother passed away 6 years ago. Tim's had a death in the family as well. And we all are going to experience that. But it really resonates with us when we have a team member or family member really kind of feel this pain because it's very real and it's very jolting. And this was unexpected. And so, our staff says, hey, do we want to do something for this person? And absolutely we do. And we are empowered to do whatever we want to do for this person. And so we're going to be, raising some money together. The company's going to double whatever money's raised, and we're going to contribute that to the family. That's one example. But if we drive this home to a homeowner, we have experiences where we know something is taking place with a homeowner, and one of the staff members says, hey, Tim, I want to send a bouquet of flowers and their favorite candle to their home, or I want to buy them a gift certificate to this restaurant, their favorite restaurant. And, they found out because they've been talking with them, so long and building rapport, they know what their favorite restaurant is. And do I have the authority to do that? Our employees they're empowered to do that. And if you're not empowered to do that, I would say empower yourself. You don't always have to spend the money. It could be a sentiment. It could be a word. It could be a card. It could be a message. It could be as simple as that you use to connect with your customer or their client.
And so this is another principle that is heavily taught at the Ritz-Carlton. And to give you an idea of how you can do this without money, I actually spoke recently to the former manager of the Ritz-Carlton in Cleveland. Now, if you've ever been to Cleveland, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. But Cleveland is a wonderful town. This Ritz-Carlton was in trouble, and it was about to become a Marriott. So they were trying to turn things around. And in case you're not familiar, Ritz and Marriott are owned by the same company. Right. And if they can't live up to a certain standard, Ritz has become Marriott's. They actually changed the name, changed the signage. So this Ritz was about to lose its status, and they had someone come into the restaurant, a gentleman and his lady, and he proposed to his girlfriend at dinner. Now, at the Ritz, every member of the staff is empowered to spend up to $1,000 per guest per day on giving them an incredible experience. So this waiter had an idea. He went to the manager and he said, I'm going to comp their meal, which is a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
The manager asked, now, did he ask about comping the meal when he made the reservation? And the waiter said, no, he didn't. And the manager just nodded and said, well, what do you think? Is that going to provide a good experience? Is that going to wow them? And the waiter said, well, I don't know. I mean, it was $150.
It's a nice thing to do.
And the manager said, well, 6 years from now when they're celebrating their anniversary, do you think they're going to remember that you comped the meal? And he said, nah, probably not. That probably won't really matter. He said, tell me about the couple.
Yep.
He said, on their first date, they went out to dinner, they walked around, and they went to go get dessert, and they shared a red velvet cupcake. And they said they fell in love over a red velvet cupcake. And they asked me if we had red velvet cupcake here. And of course, the Ritz-Carlton has a famous recipe for red velvet cupcake. And so the manager said, that's it. What can we do? So what they did is they went to the kitchen and they grabbed a copy of the Ritz-Carlton's world-famous red velvet cupcake recipe. They had the recipe. The manager grabbed a picture frame off of his desk that had his family in it. He popped out his family from the picture frame, stuck the recipe in the frame, and gave it to them with a free red velvet cupcake, courtesy of the Ritz, with that secret recipe in the frame, handwritten by the chef. Now, that recipe today sits in the home of that couple, and every guest that comes into their home gets told the story about the night he asked her to marry him, and they left with a copy of a red velvet cupcake and a nice ring.
And where do you think they got married? At the Ritz. Exactly, right? And so
good point.
I think this story here just kind of drives home the fact that you don't have to spend the money, right? But you have to be conscious and think about what memorable experience can I share. And I think the manager's job, when he had said, yeah, you could comp the meal, I mean, that sounds great. It sounds like the easiest thing to do. And I think Tim does a very good job of this. When our staff has an idea to want to contribute to a customer or to a homeowner because they're going through this difficult time, instead of, sending them flowers, he tests them and says, hey, let's get a little creative here, right? Let's check their Facebook. Let's see what they're about. Let's see how big their family is. Let's see what's going on. And then it turns out it's going to be 4 tickets to a theater and a gift certificate to a restaurant. And so the challenge here is to understand that being creative to create this personal experience, that's going to be like the magic. Like that's the magic sauce, right? That is your differentiating factor. That is your brand that you get to put out there, and no one has to know about it. I mean, look, bottom line is, yeah, your boss can give you some money to go and make this happen, but the reality is you could spend $10, $15, $20 out of your own pocket to get this homeowner to be a raving fan of yours.
Absolutely. So. And I pride myself on being a writer. That's one of my greatest passions. And I'll tell you, every time I've sent flowers to somebody, the flowers die, but the card stays behind.
Boom.
Sometimes it's the handwritten note. I mean, that is something that costs 30 cents. You know, you pay for a stamp, or what's a stamp now? 43 cents?
Yeah, it's more expensive than that.
It goes up every minute, right? I think it just went up to 50 while we were recording this video. But, you know, all you pay for is a stamp and a thank you card, and that will go way further than a $200 and $300 gift card writing a handwritten, heartfelt note to your client, to your insured, to your referral source. That's something we do every single closed job. There's someone that's assigned to write someone a handwritten thank you for the business.
Love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll continue sharing some more. Please get us some questions. We're answering some questions now of people that are calling in and sending in some info that they want to get some answers on. We're happy to answer those on our videos, and maybe it might be yours.
Yeah, hit up our website. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Hit us up.
Hey guys, OP and I wanted to thank you for watching our inaugural episodes by offering a limited number of free 15-minute 2-on-1 mastery sessions where we'll answer any one restoration industry question you have about sales, estimating, operations, or anything else. Go to restorationmastery.com/15 minutes for more information.